Okay, I'm Dr. Castle, and today I'm going to explain the syllabus for Chem 352. We've got the syllabus up here on the screen, and first thing you'll see at the top is my office hours, and I encourage you to take advantage of those office hours and come in and talk to me whenever you have any questions about concepts or homework problems or exams. Please come in and take advantage of those opportunities. Then here you see our learning outcomes. So basically in Chem 351, the first half of organic chemistry, we learned fundamental principles of the subject. We learned a few basic reactions. And what we're going to do in Chem 352 is build on that fundamental knowledge and apply it to more reactions. And then towards the end of the semester, we will apply it to biomolecules, molecules that are performing organic reactions in living organisms. We'll use the same textbook, the 6th edition of Organic Chemistry by Jan Smith that we used in Chem 351. If you purchased the ebook, as most of you did for Chem 351, then that ebook can be used for Chem 352. You don't have to purchase it again. And I sent out an email regarding the book, so hopefully that answers any questions you might have. Then here, I'll scroll down a little bit. You'll see our schedule for the semester. So we're basically going to start with chapter 13 and go all the way to chapter 30. We'll skip a couple of chapters. We'll go essentially in order. There's only one exception here. And you'll notice the number of days we'll be spending on each chapter shown here on the left. Since we will go through each chapter in order in the chapter without really skipping around, then this schedule gives you an idea of what sections of each chapter you should have read before coming to class. So, for example, we'll be spending 3 days covering chapter 13. So for Monday, you want to have the first third of chapter 13 read because that's what we're going to discuss in class. And then by Wednesday, you should have the second third of chapter 13 read. And then by Friday, you should have the concluding third of the chapter read, and then come to class ready to ask questions on any of the sections, any of the material that you might not have understood the first time you read it. And then you'll see our exams. We will have 4 exams scheduled in the testing center on the dates shown here. So please make sure you get those dates in your calendars. Also, please note that this exam right here, exam 3, closes on a Monday. And just remember that the hours of the testing center are shorter on Mondays than they are on other days of the week. And so make sure that you enter the testing center in time to take that exam. And then here you'll see our final exam for our 2 different classes. Our 9 a.m. sections will have our final exam on Monday at 11. Our 10 a.m. sections will have our final exam on Tuesday, April 25th at 8. So we'll scroll down a little bit more and take a look at your assignments and what you will be graded on. So the 4 exams, we mentioned those right here. Those are 100 points each. They comprise the bulk of the points for the semester. Our final exam, which as I mentioned will be in class, not in the testing center, will be a standardized final exam that will cover, it will be comprehensive, meaning it will cover the material from Chem 351 as well as that from Chem 352. We'll have more to say about that final exam as the time draws closer. The regular exams will be a mixture of multiple choice and short answer questions. A week or so before exam 1, we will post a sample exam so that you'll get an idea of the format of the exam, the length of the exam, the types of questions that we will ask on the exam. We will also have in-class written quizzes, and those will be, this is an error here in the syllabus actually. That was what we did during the pandemic. They will actually be unannounced pop quizzes, so I'll make sure I change that on the syllabus so that it's posted correctly in the syllabus that's posted online. So those quizzes will be held in class. They will be held at the beginning of each class period. They will be pop quizzes, meaning they will not be announced. And the reason for that is that at times when we have announced those quizzes, what I found is that in the class periods where students know there is not a quiz, there tends to be a drop off in the preparation for coming to class. The students don't seem to be quite as engaged, not as focused, not as active in terms of asking questions. And so one of the purposes of having unannounced quizzes is that it's just human nature that when students come to class and they're not sure if there's going to be a quiz or not, they're usually more prepared for the class period. And so that's my goal, to make sure that students are prepared for class, because the more active you are in class, the more you're going to learn and the more you're going to get out of the class period. So those quizzes will be held at the beginning of each class, when they are held, of course. They won't be every class period. They will be about 5 minutes in length, and they're designed to be at the difficulty level of the easier homework problems, which are the homework problems that are within the chapter, as opposed to the homework problems that are at the end of the chapter. So as you read through the chapter, you find homework problems embedded within the chapter that are basically designed to test your knowledge of what you've read, your basic knowledge of what you've read. And then at the end of the chapters, you have homework problems that are at the medium and advanced difficulty levels that are designed to help you apply that knowledge of what you read. And so if you are reading the chapters, if you are working the homework problems that are within the chapters, to check your understanding of the basic concepts, you will be well prepared for the in-class quizzes. And I should note that those quizzes will only cover material that we have previously covered. So that means we're not going to have a quiz on Monday because we haven't covered anything yet. If we were to have a quiz on Wednesday, then it would only cover material that we would have learned on Monday. And frankly, that's a bit unlikely because usually we want to cover a few class periods worth of material before we start having quizzes. So the quizzes will only cover material that we have already covered in previous class periods. Okay, so you want to make sure that you keep up with reading the textbook and of course have excellent attendance in class and work those homework problems in order to be prepared for those quizzes. Okay, so you'll note here that the quizzes are 10 points each. We have 50 points that come from quizzes, and I say here that there will be 6 or more quizzes during the semester. So what that means is that with a minimum of 6 quizzes, that would give you an opportunity to drop at least one of the quizzes that we will give during the semester. And if we give more than 6 quizzes, if we give 7, for example, that would give you an opportunity to drop 2 quizzes. If we give 8, that'll give you an opportunity to drop 3 quizzes. So I don't know at this point the exact number of quizzes that we have. That will be subject to how the semester goes. As the semester goes along, I will kind of judge when is a good time for us to have a quiz based on how things are going. And based on that, we will have, as I said, a minimum of 6 quizzes. It's possible we'll have 7 quizzes or 8 quizzes or what have you. Also, because we have the 2 sections, the 9 a.m. section and the 10 a.m. section, the quizzes for those sections will be different. Otherwise, the 10 a.m. section would have a big advantage because I'm sure that information would leak, even though it shouldn't. I'm sure that there will be information that would leak out from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And so in order to avoid people having unfair advantages, the quizzes in the two different classes will be different quizzes, and the quiz schedules will also be different. So on some days we might have a quiz at 9 a.m. and we won't have a quiz at 10 a.m. Other days we won't have a quiz at 9 a.m. and we will have a quiz at 10 a.m. And then there may be other days where we will have quizzes in both classes, but they will not be the same quizzes. They will be different quizzes. Okay, so the quiz schedules for the two classes will be independent, and this is to avoid students having any kind of an unfair advantage due to information they might get from classmates. Okay. All right, so then we have iClicker quizzes. Those will be worth a total of 20 points this semester. And iClicker quizzes will happen during the lectures. And there's a handout on Learning Suite explaining the iClickers. So I encourage you to download that handout and take a look at it. It explains how to sign up for our course on the iClicker website. This class uses the iClicker Cloud, which involves using your own device, either your phone or your tablet or even your laptop, but you have to have your own device and not a physical classical iClicker for the class. So please make sure you read that handout and please make sure that you have a subscription to the iClicker software that will last you through the entire semester. Okay. Some of you were in the class last semester and your subscription should last at least partway through this semester. Please make sure you extend that so that it lasts through the entire semester. I'll also mention that if you are new to the class and you don't have an existing iClicker subscription and you need a new one, I recommend not buying it from the bookstore because the bookstore tends to run out of the access codes, and sometimes there's a delay in getting those codes. I'm not sure how they can run out of something that's not a physical entity, why there's a limited number of codes. I still don't understand that, but sometimes the bookstore runs out, and my advice is to purchase it directly from the iClicker website. The iClicker website allows you to purchase those codes and register for the class directly without having to go through the bookstore. So if you have any questions on that, please contact me, please email me, and I'd be happy to answer those questions. Most iClickers, you'll be able to talk to your neighbors, and we award 1 point for participating and then a 2nd point for getting the right answer. So there is an incentive to get the right answer, and we usually allow you to talk to your neighbors in order to come up with those answers. And iClicker quizzes, some classes we won't have any, other classes we will have them. Some classes we may have more than one. It just depends on the nature of the material we're covering on any given day and how well that material lends itself to having iClicker quizzes. We will have a synthesis assignment that will be due towards the end of the semester in April, and we'll give you more details on that later on. That's going to be an assignment where you will locate a paper in the primary literature of organic chemistry, so you'll get an idea to see what modern organic chemists are doing, how they are using the reactions we're learning in class to make drugs, drug candidates, other important organic compounds. So that should be a fun assignment for you. We will also have a take-home quiz that will be separate from our in-class written quizzes, and that will be also towards the end of the semester, covering some of the biomolecules material that we will cover towards the end of our semester. So those are our assignments. This is the total number of points that we have. What you see over here is a historical grade scale. This is a scale that most BYU Chem 352 classes fit into, roughly 25% of the students earning either A's or A minuses, roughly 30% of the students earning some form of a B, and so on and so forth. But I want to emphasize that while this is typical for BYU classes, it is not set in stone. I'm not required by the university or the department to only award 25% of the class A's or A minuses. If all of you earn A's and A minuses, all of you will receive an A or an A minus. That is my promise to you, okay? And so what that means is that you are not in competition with your classmates for a limited number of A's and A minuses, right? If all of you earn that grade, all of you will receive that grade. So it's in your interest, your best interest, to study together with your classmates, to help each other learn the subject, to help each other do well on the exams. And I want you to do well. I would love to award everybody A's and A minuses. I will only award the grades that students earn, but I would be more than happy to award A's and A minuses to everybody in the class if everybody earns it, because I want you to learn the subject. This is an awesome subject, fantastic. I love it, and I want you to learn it, and I want you to learn it to the best of your ability. So I'm on your side, and I hope that everybody does indeed do well in the class. You'll notice we didn't have homework listed here in our grading columns. That's because the homework is treated specially in this class as a consequence of it being so large. So there's a homework handout available on Learning Suite that you can download, and it lists the assigned homework problems for each chapter that we will cover, and you will work those problems in a notebook, and you will turn that notebook in at the end of the semester. It will be worth 6 points total, which doesn't sound like a lot, but most semesters, approximately 10% of the class is within 6 points of the next available letter grade. So what we will do is we will grade only the homework of those students who are within those 6 points of the next available letter grade. That makes it more manageable. We have about 360 students signed up for the class right now, and so grading 36 homework notebooks is a lot easier than grading 360, a lot less time consuming. The grading is based on percent completion, and you are to self-report the number of problems you completed in each chapter. And what we will do is we will check that. We will look at a random selection of chapters and make sure that you've reported your performance accurately. And if you have, you will earn the points. If you've not reported it accurately, if you've reported your performance, then you will not get the homework points, okay? And last semester, indeed, approximately 10% of the class was within 6 points of the next available letter grade. And I was really pleased. Everybody did the homework that was within that range of 6 points or fewer. And so I was very pleased to be able to award the higher grades to those students. Okay. So in addition to the homework having an impact on your final grade, it also provides excellent preparation for the exams. You will see problems modeled after the homework problems on the exams. And so working the homework problems provides a set of practice problems that will prepare you well for the exam. So I encourage you to do the homework. Last semester in 351, we had excellent compliance with doing the homework, and hopefully that will continue this semester in Chem 352. One other thing I'll mention here is that some students like to do the homework electronically on their tablets. That's fine as long as you print it out. I know that doesn't sound very environmentally friendly. However, what happens is these files get so big that they are very impractical for us to search through in order to grade. It saves us a lot of time if we can just page through papers as opposed to sift through a giant file on a computer. I've tried it before and it just doesn't work very well. So if you're doing your homework electronically, please make sure that you know how to print it out and put it in a binder of some sort and then turn it in at the end of the semester. Okay, let's go to our second page. We've already talked about iClickers, quizzes, and exams, but one other thing in this area is that there is an online tutorial system known as Bacon that is an optional activity that you can engage in. It provides online tutorials that discuss some of the material we'll be learning this semester, and it has quizzes associated with those tutorials. And if you elect to use the Bacon quizzes, then your average at the end of the semester on the Bacon quizzes can replace your lowest quiz grade. There is a small fee, about $6, I believe. Bacon is run by a good friend of mine who works at UCLA. And he assures me that that $6 fee simply covers the cost of them maintaining the Bacon quizzes and tutorials on their servers there at UCLA. So there's a handout on Learning Suite explaining the Bacon quizzes, giving the schedule of when they'll be available. We'll talk a little more about that as we get into the semester, but that provides you with an opportunity to replace a low quiz score. We do have an extra credit assignment that you can also participate in. It's a 5-point assignment, and that is creating a music video, a parody of a song where you have changed the lyrics to be organic chemistry themed. Many students have a lot of fun with this assignment. We have examples of videos that students have submitted in the past on Learning Suite that you can take a look at. And there is a handout that explains how this works. Another great thing about this assignment is it frequently gets students together in groups to work on the music videos. And those groups often serve as study groups and help you study in the class as well. So this is a fun assignment and also one that usually benefits those who decide to participate. Of course, we have recitations on Tuesdays. Those recitations are optional, meaning that we are not covering any new material in those recitations. They're simply used as an opportunity to review, an opportunity to problem solve. And because of that, you do not have to attend the recitation you are registered for. You may attend any recitation of your choice. And you're not limited to the class you've registered for. If you're in the 9 a.m. recitation, you can attend one of the recitations that is assigned to the 10 a.m. classes. It doesn't matter. They're all going to be the same. We're going to be on the same schedule. So you can choose the one that you like, whether it's the one that your study group is attending, whether you have one TA that you especially like. All of our TAs are excellent, but if there's a certain TA that you really want to go to their recitation, you can do that. You can even go to more than one recitation if you want, because the different TAs will have different styles. They'll do it according to their own style and, and preference for teaching the class, even though it's going to cover essentially the same material. And then, of course, the TAs will have office hours in the tutorial lab. So to conclude, helpful hints for learning the material. So all of you have learned the first half of organic chemistry, so you have an idea of what the class is about. One thing that'll be a little bit different this semester compared to when you took Chem 351 or the equivalent if you took it at another university, is that we'll be learning more reactions this semester than we did the first semester. Okay, so you have to have good study habits because the reactions will just come faster than they did in Chem 351. So you have to make sure that your study habits are excellent. There's no magic formula for success in this class. There's just a simple formula, and that is read the book, write down notes of questions that you might not understand on certain topics, come to class prepared, ask questions in class of topics that you don't understand, be an active participant in class, and then work the homework problems. Many times students will say, yeah, I understood that subject, but I didn't do well on the exam. Usually that's a sign of an understanding that's not deep enough. It's one thing to hear something in class or read it in a textbook and say it makes sense, but it's another thing to actually be able to use that information and knowledge to solve problems, okay? And so to have that deeper understanding that allows you to solve problems related to those topics, you need to practice those problems. So working the homework is an essential part of learning the material. And then the final step in the process is to get feedback when you are missing problems. So if there are homework problems that you're missing, you want to make sure you're using that solutions manual to check your answers. And if you don't understand why the answer in the solutions manual is different from your answer, then please come see me in my office hours, or please visit the TAs in the tutorial lab. We have lots of opportunities for you to get help and get feedback, okay? Working in study groups is also helpful. You can teach each other, making flashcards to learn the details of reactions. This is also very helpful. So So these are some helpful hints. And if you're struggling during the semester, then please reach out to me. Please come into my office. I'll be happy to help you figure out ways that you can improve your strategy and your study habits. So that's all I have in regards to the syllabus. I look forward to seeing you on Monday.